Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Breakaway. And that is because we are covering a wonderful and very explosive full moon lunar eclipse that occurred yesterday at 15 degrees of Aries. Well, Aries rules new beginnings, and Aries is the sign of the pioneer. But this is an extremely volatile and explosive full moon lunar eclipse because not only was the moon in Aries, but so was Uranus, the planet of sudden change, surprise, the future, and rebellion and freedom. And it was at the exact same degree as the full moon, the 15th degree. So both of those planets were in perfect alignment, and they were being backed up by a trine in fire sign, so that makes it even more explosive. Jupiter in Leo was trining the full moon and Uranus, and Mars in Sagittarius was doing that as well. So somebody may certainly want to break away, and that is because they can be feeling very smothered, either in a partnership or in some sort of a group or in some sort of way of doing something that they've really outgrown and they can't stand it, so they can try to break away. I think they're going to be successful, but the reason the show is titled Breakaway is because it may not actually represent a complete breakup. In other words, they may not be going too far. They are not wanting to come back to the same old thing, though. You'd have to understand that they won't return to the status quo. They would want to be doing something their way and be expressive or be very creative on their own. And so we know that under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun, and that is what's happening, and it's pretty explosive on its own because, of course, the moon is conjunct Uranus, one love planet, because remember, Uranus rules higher or spiritual love or platonic love or love of doing something. It rules invention, and it rules space, and it certainly rules computers and all kinds of electronics. And so those two planets, the moon and Uranus, were in perfect opposition to the sun and Venus, the other love planet, which are in Libra right now. So both love planets are opposing each other. That's not too good. It means that people are not willing to compromise right now. So someone can be breaking away. I don't think they're going too far, but they can be breaking away right now because those planets are backed up by others in fire signs. However, people still want peace. People still want things to be legal, or people can still want to negotiate instead. That's why I don't think it's a complete break up. It's just people wanting to break away, or it can be whole organizations or even countries that want to break away. But it doesn't mean they're not open to negotiation, because those two planets in Libra, an air sign, are very strong. In fact, of the four planets, the strong one is Venus, because it is at home in the sign it rules, Libra. You know, the full moon certainly doesn't rule Aries, and Uranus doesn't rule Aries either, and the sun is in Libra, but it doesn't rule Libra, but Venus does. And that is why I think that people still do want peace, or they can see that they've got to negotiate, and they may decide to go ahead and do a little bit of that, because negotiation is better than having a complete and final split on something. So that is entirely possible right now. And I hope that they stick to trying that out, because there is another planet in a cardinal sign. Remember, there are four cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And there are two planets in Aries, and they are being squared by Pluto in Capricorn, which represents people in high positions in management in corporations or government agencies. But they're authority figures, or they're people that can make policy or change policies or make some sort of final judgment. So that planet is squaring the lunar eclipse and Uranus, and it is also squaring the sun and Venus in Libra. So with 5 planets in cardinal signs, in harsh aspect to each other, it is going to be difficult to negotiate, but not impossible. And a breakaway is still not something that can prompt a lot of hate or anything. It simply means people want to do things in a way that will allow them a greater freedom of expression. And so someone else may decide, you know, I think I could listen to that, or maybe we can negotiate on that. It's significant to remember that China is ruled by Libra, and Venus is in Libra. And if the Chinese were seeing people somewhere that wanted to break away, maybe they are going to decide to negotiate in some way, and that would be a wise idea. And that is because Venus in Libra represents peace. It doesn't have anything to do with war, and it does represent diplomacy, negotiation, and compromise. And so there can be people around that are quite willing to do that right now. And that is why, even if there is a breakaway, I don't think people are going too far right now. Another thing, though, if you wanted to break away that you might want to consider before you jump in and do it, is that there are 3 retrograde planets right now. Uranus is retrograde in Aries, so it's a little bit weaker. And right behind that, Neptune is retrograde in Pisces. And Mercury now has gone into Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, and it is joining Saturn there. But Mercury also is retrograde. And when there are 3 or more retrograde planets, particularly Mercury, which is the planet of the mind, and since it's in a financial sign, it might be a better idea for all of us before we break away or even try it in any way to sort of slow down and think it over. Because you may want to be free to express yourself somewhere else or in some other way, but can you really afford it? This is a time when we're going to really have to look at money because budgets are shrinking and there isn't enough money around to do everything. And that is why you should slow down a little bit and think about what else your freedom will cost you in terms of higher expenses or in moving or some sort of change. And this is when you should maybe reconsider what you want to do. That's why I think that if people are wanting to break away, they're not going to go too far. And that is because maybe they can't afford that. In other words, they can't afford to give up everything. Or else it's maybe that they feel that they are just being smothered, and if things can't change, they want to be by themselves. But if things could change, maybe there can be some sort of reconciliation. Who knows? Because peace is really in the air. That is what people prefer. And so I hope that you let your finances guide you before you decide to break away, and also you leave yourself open to some sort of negotiation or reconciliation down the road. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, the lunar eclipse yesterday was in your sun sign, and it was very volatile. Surprise, Aries, you should decide to make yourself ready for some sort of lightning change that could occur. After all, there can be pressure that has been building up. Remember, the 2 love planets are opposing each other, and one of them is in your sign, Uranus. And since it is the planet of sudden change, it's you, Aries, that may decide to break away and do something all your own way. You may decide to move. You may not like the way authority figures are sort of coming down on you and making you conform. Or it might be that you are on the losing end of a legal matter, and that is because the Sun and Venus in Libra are so well aspected that it does indicate the settlement, peaceful settlement of legal matters, but there's got to be a winner and a loser, and since those planets are opposing your sun sign, it might be you that's losing. And that could be a reason to break away. And you know, I'm actually going to suggest that you go for it, Aries, and the reason why is your sign has a lot of fortification. Remember, Jupiter in Leo is trining the full moon lunar eclipse and Uranus in your sign, and Mars in Sagittarius is doing the same thing. So if you want to break away, or since Uranus is retrograde, if something that you wanted to do before and it sort of fizzled out or you weren't able to do it, if that opportunity comes back to you, I would really latch onto it fast, Aries, because you're aspected to succeed. You are particularly aspected to succeed at going forward right now. Even if you're already involved in some sort of new beginning, you might sort of want to change and go in a different direction. And I urge you to give that a try. I don't think you have anything to lose, Aries, because you have so much support right now. And it is a volatile lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse always denotes one woman going and another woman coming. Somewhere in your life that is happening, Aries. And if it's you that wants to go or come, this is a very good time for you to do that. Don't wait any longer, Aries. Just go for it. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, right behind your sun sign in the background of your life was that lunar eclipse in Aries. And so the full moon and Uranus were both together, and it simply means there was so much light in the background of your life, Taurus, that I think some sort of new beginning that has been in the works is certainly illuminated right now. Maybe a lot of people can see that you're interested in that. And there can be some sudden change in the background of your life that would represent a revival or something new that is associated with something that you always wanted to do anyway. That's what I mean by revival. So I think that that is good news for you because that can really succeed right now, Taurus. And you are feeling a little extravagant, I think, because Jupiter in Leo is squaring your sun, and that is a sign of extravagance. So I think since your own ruler, Venus, is so well aspected, it's in Libra, the other sign it rules, but it's being conjuncted by the sun, I would say that even if someone is breaking away right now, somebody you know or someone in your work environment or your neighborhood, if they're doing that, it could perhaps provide an opening for you down the road, Taurus. So I don't think you're going to be hurt by that at all. And that is good. It'll bring something to the surface that is that everyone can see that I think will do you some good in the long run, or maybe even in the short run, because that would mean you could sort of jump into something if there was a sudden vacancy. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, it's very fortunate for you that lunar eclipse in Aries is sextiling your sun, which means the full moon and Uranus are sextiling your sun, meaning that some sort of breakaway that someone else can initiate might provide an opportunity for you in one way or another. The opportunity would represent change, but that's what your sign rules, Gemini. So that means a door could open for you. And the sun and Venus in Libra are trining your sun. And that simply means that if you have been in any kind of legal predicament or a negotiation, there could be a favorable settlement about that right now, and it could even be a generous one. You could sort of get what you want right now. Or if you have been talking about some legal matter and people haven't been listening, now is when they could finally decide to make peace, and they could decide that you're right, or enough time or evidence has accrued to prove you're right, and therefore you could sort of win your argument right now, which is great. So I think if nothing else, somebody very nice is headed your way, or an agreeable settlement, legal settlement, is headed your way, and that is going to do you a lot of good at the same time that there may be some sort of sudden opening for you. And so I think you might be free to change now, Gemini, if you want to, due to extenuating circumstances that work in your favor. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when I think you are going to be quite challenged, and the reason why is that, remember I said there are 5 planets in cardinal signs. The 2 in Aries are opposing the 2 in Libra, and both of those are being squared by Pluto in Capricorn, which is opposing your sun sign. This lunar eclipse was volatile because Uranus, the planet of sudden change, was at the same degree as the lunar eclipse, the 15th degree, and both of those planets were squaring your sun. And so I think that you are going to have to adjust quite suddenly to some sort of sudden change. Either someone else is breaking away and you'll have to adjust your schedule to fill in a little bit, or it can be that corporate policies or management are looking closely at the bottom line, and so they can be deciding perhaps to do without your services, or they can change policies so much that you're not interested in what they want anymore, and it might be you that decides to break away because of that. Or it can be that there is a canceled contract or terms in a legal agreement that are not to your liking. So you're going to feel this lunar eclipse, Cancer, and you will have to react to it in one way or another. Now, Mercury and Saturn are both in Scorpio, trining your sun, and Neptune in Pisces is also trining your sun. You can still make a dream come true, Cancer, in spite of what everyone else is doing, as long as you look over the money a little bit more, or perhaps you can pare your budget down, or perhaps you can find additional financial resources. But you can make a dream come true. You're just going to have to go slow, or there may be a delay. And the reason why I mentioned delay is because, remember, I said there are 3 retrograde planets. 2 of them are trining your sun. Well, at least they're trining your sun, but they're not going in the right direction. And that's why you might have to put a dream on hold or wait a little bit right now, Cancer, as you do have to react to challenges that are the result of somebody breaking away right now. You'll have to deal with that first. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, a breakaway is going to do you a lot of good. In fact, it will probably give you a fresh opportunity to make a new start as well. Because if somebody breaks away, they may want you to go with them and perhaps create a new company or start off in a new direction. Well, you'd love that because Jupiter is in your sun sign, and it was trined by the lunar eclipse yesterday, and Uranus in Aries. And Mars in Sagittarius is also trining your sun. So I think it's a go for you, Leo. It means that even if someone is suddenly breaking away, you could be the person that jumps in and fills the void, and you could do it in the blink of an eye, because fire signs like to move fast. And with Jupiter in your sign, there's nothing stopping you, Leo, from really taking advantage of somebody else who may be breaking away, either by joining them or filling in once they have left. So I think that you benefit no matter what. It's just that I'm not sure the money will be there right away, because Saturn and Mercury in Scorpio are squaring your sun, and Mercury is retrograde. So slow down a little bit if you can, Leo, and ask yourself if you can really afford to make a quick jump, because there are still lingering debts or bills or taxes that have to be addressed no matter what. And if I were you, I'd sort of get those out of the way first if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think you just have to stay doing what you're doing, Virgo. I don't think that it's going to be an exciting time for you right now, and I don't think you're going to have to react to what's going on around you either, because the focus really isn't on you, and that is because the lunar eclipse was in conjunct or 150 degrees away from your sun sign, so it may not directly affect you, even though it was a very volatile eclipse. And remember, under an eclipse, a lunar one woman goes and another woman comes. So there can be some changes around you, and someone else can be breaking away in a rather surprising manner. But I don't think that changes your focus, Virgo, because your focus is usually on work or being of service to others. And with Pluto in Capricorn trining your sun, even though it is under duress because it's part of 5 planets that are in cardinal signs all squaring each other, it's not doing that to your sun sign, Virgo. In fact, it's very benignly looking at what you do. Somebody in management is looking at what you do, and they're really liking your steadiness, Virgo. So I think you just have to sort of keep going, doing what you're doing, because with you, it is a matter of duty and honor to be relied upon and to be trusted. And so I think that it isn't exciting, but it is certainly something that builds trust and respect. And so I think you should continue on. Virgo, you're doing just great. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think you are ready to negotiate for one reason or another. What could those reasons be? Well, one, that lunar eclipse opposed your sun sign with Uranus there, and so it was also opposing Venus in your sun sign. And so that simply means that someone isn't seeing eye to eye with you, Libra. Somebody does want to break away. They can even be feeling as if they're cramped or smothered, perhaps even by you, because it could be that you just want peace and balance and harmony and fairness, and somebody else wants to do things their own way no matter what. And so they could break away. You could be quite willing to negotiate, though. It's just that you have to understand the status quo is not going to hold anymore. Even if somebody who breaks away decides to return, they are going to want they're going to want something that will not smother them so much and will give them more freedom of expression in one way or another. You could be very willing to grant that, particularly if there's a little separation right now. Or it can be that you are just simply willing to negotiate or to compromise in some way, because at least then people would get along and then you could go do what you want to do too. So I think that you are actually the peaceful person, and you're probably going to be asked to negotiate something, and I think that you will do it very well. But you are on your own, Libra. And the reason why, even though you have wonderful planets in your sun sign, and it does mean you'll ultimately be victorious, you're on your own because there are no planets in the other air signs. And so you have to depend completely on your own judgments. There are a lot of planets surrounding your sign, though, and so you've got a lot of backup and strength and people that you can draw on for support, and I would do that if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, Mercury is in your sign now, and it is joining Saturn there, but Mercury is one of the 3 retrograde planets. It's going backwards, and although these 2 planets are trining Neptune in Pisces, which is also retrograde, it simply means you're going to have to look over your ideas or your dreams, Scorpio, and try to fit them into a smaller budget, because there can be even some bills that you didn't know you owe. Or it can be that there are higher taxes that are coming up. It doesn't mean they're there yet, but they can be coming up. And you may have to readjust your budget in order to fit in into a financial arena that is getting more and more costly. And so even if the value of things go down, if the money goes with it, it means that everybody's budget is shrinking a little bit right now, and it could be yours as well. Or you're going to have to adjust somehow to the higher cost of living, and that is never easy to do either. As far as the lunar eclipse goes, I don't think it's you that's breaking away, and I advise you not to get involved with anybody else that's trying to do that, because the accent is on the fire signs and yours is a water sign. Fire and water don't mix. Stay out of whatever is going on around you, Scorpio. It really doesn't involve you, and the focus is not on you right now. So you just need to concentrate on your long-term goals and how to achieve them, because I think there's something you've been thinking about and planning and contemplating for a long time, and you could be on the verge of doing it, but you've just got to make sure you've got all your financial bases covered. And if you don't have them covered right now, due to circumstances beyond your control, then I would wait a little bit if I were you. With 3 retrograde planets, it's a better idea for everyone to slow down a little bit, so I hope you do. And stay out of the fast action, Scorpio. It really doesn't involve you. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, I think you're going to be in the thick of it. It might be you that's breaking away, or you may want to join someone else that's doing it, because the lunar eclipse and Uranus in Aries were trining your sun, and Jupiter in Leo is also trining your sun. So I think that it's either you that's breaking away, or you're going to join someone else that's doing it. So I think that you're sort of going to be on the go, Sagittarius, and it could be due to trying to sort of outrun some financial problems that are creeping up behind you, Sagittarius, because not only is Saturn in Scorpio right behind your sun sign, but Mercury is as well, and it is retrograde, meaning that there are some pesky bills, or there can be credit terms that are going to rise or taxes that are going to rise, and that can make you feel smothered, and you could want to get out of some sort of situation right now. If it's a financial situation, believe me, you cannot escape it. And that's because Saturn is in Scorpio, and it's going to pursue you no matter where you go, Sagittarius. So it is you that might be even unpleasantly surprised by some lightning change that occurs right now. And that is why I wouldn't move too fast right now. You might get yourself in a little bit more trouble, and you cannot really run away from financial problems. You'll have to sort of stick it out and face them instead. You do have people that can help you with that. It's just that they're moving pretty fast right now too, and the faster you move, Sagittarius, the more it might hurt you right now, because there are 3 retrograde planets and they're not moving fast, and that's why it would be a good idea for you to slow down a little bit and adjust your sights if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when you can be caught right in the middle of pressure and tension and disagreement from somebody who wants to make peace and is willing to negotiate. That's the 2 planets in Libra that are squaring your sun sign. And someone else that wants to break away and do things all their own way right now. That's the full moon and Uranus squaring your sun sign, where you have Pluto. Yours is the voice of reason, though. You are a person that doesn't like to move fast. You like to actually take one step at a time and not skip any. Your sign rules bureaucracy and administration. And so you could be somewhat squeezed now between people who are not getting along, and they're not going in the same direction either. What can you do? I think you need to really concentrate just on your own long-term goals right now. You're not in a position to go forward as quickly or as financially acceptable as you would like to. In other words, you might have expensive tastes and you may not be able to afford everything you want to do right now, Capricorn. So I think you need to slow down, which is just fine. You're not really strong enough to move forward on your own without partners, and you may not be willing to agree to the terms that other people are insisting upon right now, because they don't quite know what they want either. No final conclusion has been reached yet. So I think you need to sort of tread water right now, Capricorn, and keep your eyes on your long-term goals, because your strength is going to build. It's just not there yet. It certainly will be there by your birthday, though. So that is a better time for you to make a change. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a wonderful full moon lunar eclipse for you because your ruler was involved in it, Uranus. And so I think you're going to be involved in some sort of sudden change. It can be sort of off with the old and on with the new right now, Aquarius, because the Sun and Venus in Libra were trining your Sun. And they're the ones that are going to win in the end anyway, because they're willing to negotiate or make peace. And so that is what is going to be the final result of this conflict between people who want to break away and other people who want to maintain the status quo. Somewhere in between there will be some peacemaking. The status quo won't remain, and the breaking away isn't going to last forever either. And so this can be a time of opportunity for you, and if there is a contract being offered, it's going to be a real generous one, so I hope you sign it fast, Aquarius. Don't quibble, just sign. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think you too need to just sort of sit back and relax, because right ahead of you, Pisces, was that lunar eclipse yesterday with the full moon and Uranus, and they were being trined by fire planets in the other fire signs, but they were also being opposed by 2 planets in Libra and squared by Pluto in Capricorn. So you could probably see a conflict in front of you, Pisces, but I advise you not to take sides. And even though your tender heart can respond and see other people's points of view, it isn't about you. And if you were going to leap into something right now, I think you could get burned. And that is because there's so much force in the fire signs. I don't think they're exactly going to win right now, but they sure got a lot of backup. And so if people move too quickly, they could regret it, since there are still 3 retrograde planets. And one of them is in your sign, Pisces. It's Neptune. So I would say you need to either hold them or fold them. But I wouldn't play all my cards right now, Pisces, because the timing isn't right. Things are moving a little too fast and they're a little too volatile. So stay out of things if you can and just play it cool. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.